what's up? Alright, let's just jump straight into it. This is by Nice Bluebird 2511. They are asking for IGMS tips. If you don't know, IGMS is the second module of semester 2 in Ross's curriculum. They said any tips, advice, or help would be great. Pretty please. I'm just trying to stay afloat and do well this module after being burnt out from Hawaii. So that is the problem with the IGMS module at Ross. They hit you so hard in the first module of Sem 2, which is Hoi, that you're burnt out when going to the second module, which is IGMS. For me, Hoi was actually really good. I did really well in Hoi, but IGMS, the second module, I almost failed. That was a very difficult module. It's probably one of the hardest parts of the Ross curriculum, semester 2. Semester 5 is probably the hardest module, or the hardest part of Ross curriculum. I'm currently at the beach right now. But that's definitely the hardest part of Ross's curriculum. So I would say the best way to do it is you just gotta be consistent with your daily studying, man. The biggest problem or the biggest mistake I made in IGMS was I was not consistent with my studying. I fell short, I stopped going to class and started trying to do things more efficiently, better my way, when in reality the best way to study is always the simplest and the basics. That is always the best way to study. You don't want to do anything too extravagant. You don't want to make too many random movements and too many random things when you're trying to study. It's good to try different things out, but I'm telling you the basics are at work. Watch your lectures, do your Anki cards, at the end do your practice questions, and that's it. That'll be the best thing for you, I promise you. So if you're someone who's struggling with semester 2, this semester 2 right now, and you're struggling, the best advice I can give you is stay consistent, watch your lectures, do your Anki, and just keep going, because everyone is feeling the same thing you're feeling right now. I guarantee you, every single person in your semester is feeling the stress. Every single person is feeling like they're not going to make it, because every single person is struggling and is burnt out, is tired from point. Next question. So this is a good one. By Competitive Face 3499, they're asking about outside resources. They've asked, do any of you study almost entirely from outside resources and not really Ross material? Or is it better to use both together? They're just trying to see what works for people, and they're talking about for Sem 4 plus, Sem 4 onwards. I'm honestly getting tired of how disorganized content feels. So that is a huge problem with the Ross curriculum. The way the modules are, it makes sense, but within the modules, intramodular, it is very difficult to actually understand information, because they might mention one disease way at the beginning of the module and only explain it later when they want you to know that this disease causes X way earlier in the module. Like, perfect example. Right now I'm in endo-repro, and a huge disease that we talk about, or a huge syndrome, is polycystic ovarian syndrome. A huge, very important one. We learned that it causes all these effects very early on in the module, within week 2, week 3 of the module. But we only learned what PCOS is week 7, week 6 of the module, after the first exam. So it is true that Ross curriculum is definitely disorganized at times. Definitely, absolutely true. But I will say it's outside, getting back to the question, outside resources, you want to use them in conjunction with Ross stuff. So I'll give you a good example. I'll give you a good example from my experience. When I was just starting off Endo Repro, and the second module after I finished, the second exam, after I finished the first exam, I was starting the material for the second exam. We didn't have lecture until 3 p.m. that day, 3 p.m. But I was on campus at 10 because of some mandatory activity. And so what I did was I watched the outside resources. I watched boot camp from 10 to 1 of all the stuff we're going to cover this next meeting. And then I went back, once we got the lectures, I went and watched the Ross material for it. And I'm so thankful I did that, because it gave me such a good blueprint for the actual material that comes later. It's a phenomenal thing. Outside resources are really good, but when it comes to Ross material, you need to watch lectures. You need to read the slides. Some people don't like watching stuff. That's fine. Me personally, I know I need to watch the lectures. I need to read the slides. I need to do the arc. That's just the best for me, and I think that's going to be the best for you as well, because even though everyone's different, in the end of the day, the basics are what work for everybody in the most part. Stick to the basics. So outside resources, Melman Doc is really good for the finals. Practice questions from test banks like Amboss and UWorld are really good for the finals. For me, RX and Amboss are really good as well. And you also, I know a lot of people use Boards and Beyond. I've never used it, but I know a lot of people love Boards and Beyond. So if you want to try it out, try it. Sketchy is really good for pharmacology, microbiology. Sketchy is really good for that. Yeah, don't sleep on your outside resources. But when it comes to ROS material, you need to do ROS stuff. Sorry, when it comes to ROS stuff, you need to do ROS material. I'm talking stuff like the lectures, the workshops, the Anki, stuff like that. Definitely do that. But yeah, outside resources are a really good tool to use as well. Thanks for the question. Competitive face. Let's go to the next one. That's Echidna 9392. They say Ross. They have Ross trauma. Let's see what they say. I have so much trauma from being a student at Ross. I feel like if I do anything wrong, even a minor mistake, I'll get in trouble or get kicked out. I feel scared of being here and dealing with all these people and policies. I know I can only try to survive it and hope for the best, but fear is constantly looming over me, and I've gotten so anxious and stressed from just being a student at Ross. That is a great point. What Echidna said is very, very valid. It's super true. One thing I'll tell you, Ross is a university is a huge opportunity, but you have to really, really work hard for it. I've talked to many people who are either done with Ross or they graduated from Ross a while ago, and everyone consistently says that the island is the hardest part of your med school journey if you go to Ross. It's consistently said that. And the reason is because I've mentioned this in so many videos, but you're alone in the beginning. You feel alone, you have no family, no friends, you don't know anybody here. And you're just struggling to, like Echidna said, stay afloat. You're struggling to do that. But I will say, it's absolutely possible to do well. It's absolutely possible to make friends and feel good. I was just talking to my friend today about this when we were on the way to the beach. He was telling me, because I was asking what he thought about it, because I like to get different perspectives. It's true. The Ross curriculum is a huge opportunity. You come out of Ross some of the best prepared students that there are. Really, it's really true. When you go to clinical rotations, like when I'll be in next year, you're so on top of your game compared to everybody who's either a U.S. grad or some other grad, because you've dealt with the brunt of high stress and you know how to overcome and step above that. Now, Ross University curriculum isn't necessarily the hardest curriculum or the easiest curriculum out there. Hello, but what I will tell you, it's absolutely possible to score well and do well. So when you say that Ross trauma is absolutely a thing, that is true. People have so much trauma from being a student at Ross. That's true. You feel like you're gonna fail every day. I felt like that multiple times. My friends have felt like that. Every day you think you're not gonna do well on the test because there's so much you don't know. But that's just medical school in general. So I will say is just keep going. Same advice I gave to that friend that just mentioned the IGMS. Just keep going, make the progress, keep daily studying. That's how you're gonna do it. That's what I'll tell you. But yeah, fear is definitely real. You just gotta keep going, man. You just gotta keep going. It gets better, I promise you. So last question I'm gonna talk about. Semester 1 preparation. See what this guy says. By Empty Elephant 6177. Hey everyone, I just started my first semester at Ross and was wondering what the best way is to start preparing for comp early. I know people usually say not to think about this soon, but I'd rather get ahead than panic later. So if you don't know, comp is basically the practice step 1 exam you take at the end of your basic sciences. This person is saying that before they even know anything, going into Sem 1, they want to start preparing for comp. Right now, I'm planning on studying around 15 hours a day, going slow, going to start fasting so food doesn't get in the way, and trying to slowly knock out U-words along with regular coursework. I also want to start laying the groundwork for Step 2 so critical thinking doesn't feel completely foreign later on. I'm not sure if it's better to start CMS forms now or wait a bit. I want to see what people have been through and think. Okay, there's some truth to what this guy says, this girl says. There's definitely some truth. But what I will say is, I think this is a joke, because it sounds like a joke. But if you're someone who is kind of feeling a similar way, you're about to start prep and you want to start preparing for STEP, preparing for comp, I will say, man, just do the Ross coursework. Just stay up to date with the Ross material and watch the lectures. do the on-YouTube practice question when you get time, because that's going to be the best way to do it. That's what I will say. That's the best way to do the studying, man. So you don't need to worry about comp or step one prep at all at this point in time. You just gotta keep up with the work. The same advice I'm telling you this whole time. Keep up with the prep. Keep up with the work. Just keep going, man. You don't need to start preparing for step two when you're in semester one. It's way too early. You want to wait till you're kind of in sem 5. You're kind of going. You're or maybe sem 3, sem 4, and once you get sem 5, you're really focusing on it. That's kind of what you want to do. You don't want to go too crazy in the beginning. Yeah, definitely don't start ACMS forms now because you don't know anything. You need to actually. And do you even know what high blood pressure is? Do you even know the number that is high blood pressure? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe if you have some experience in the medical field before that, you would. But honestly, that's yeah. Those are all the questions I have. I hope I answered some more questions. If you guys have any more questions, I might do another Q&A in the future. This was all from the Ross Reddit. So if you have any more questions, I'll answer them in maybe another video like this. Put them in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is Rohan. Stay calm, cool, and collected at all times. I'll catch you in another video. Thank you for watching. Peace out.